Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cyber Science Lab podcasts. Similar to the previous episodes, we have discussions with leading professionals in the field of autonomous cybersecurity, and we will discuss challenges and solutions in this domain. My name is Dr. Tooska Dargahi. I'm an associate professor in cybersecurity at Manchester Metropolitan University in the UK, and I'm your host for today's episode. Before introducing my guest, I would like to remind you of our upcoming workshop, which is the first international workshop on autonomous cybersecurity called AutonomousCyber 2024. It will be held in conjunction with the 31st ACM Conference on Computer and Communication Security, ACM CCS 2024, on the 18th of October in Salt Lake City in the US. Our guest for today is Dr. Haider Al-Khateeb. He is an associate professor in cybersecurity at Aston University in the UK. Hi, Haidar. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and being with us today.
Good afternoon, Tooska. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you. Can you please introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your research?
So my name is Haidar. I'm Dr. Haider Al-Khateeb. I'm an associate professor in cybersecurity at Aston University. My research is formed around two words, trust and AI. We see AI technology and related areas of research, such as ethics and trust, to name a few, increasingly becoming part of production environments and the supply chain. When I say trust, I include work on quality of data for autonomous decisions, for autonomous decision making, but also the use of AI to manipulate data, which can be used in misinformation and disinformation attacks. I think while we usually talk about future applications of AI and autonomous systems, the present time is already very exciting with both opportunities and challenges. This is where I usually spend my time. So I suppose if I have to choose one research question to describe what we do overall, it will be how can we develop trustworthy AI for autonomous cybersecurity solutions?
That is great. That is quite different from what I have had in the previous episodes. Basically, in our podcast series, we have discussed different aspects of autonomous systems, autonomous cybersecurity, their impacts in our daily lives, and the challenges that are there, and some solutions. So my question for you would be quite different from our previous episodes. I would like to know your opinion about the potential of autonomous systems on businesses, and what the managers of businesses or what senior employees of businesses need to know about these systems.
Usually when we work with the industry, managers speak the language of matrices and KPIs, and that's one good approach to start a conversation with them. If we meet them in conferences or even in arranged meetings. Then we work with the industry to, at the end of the day, to understand business objectives and the ambition of each company in order to establish good agenda with some mutual understanding to find a way to help them with innovation. Now, when it comes to presenting new capabilities of emerging technologies such as AI and autonomous system, I would say that it is not a one approach for all. It might be best then to share some examples. Now, in some cases, business managers tend to be those who have little experience maybe with incorporating AI, and they are worried about missing out on the competitive advantage that would come with the technology. And then they want to know a little bit on how to incorporate it and to avoid risk that would come with that, how to prioritize the benefit. In this case, we found it best to organize workshops and seminars to this type of maybe businesses and managers to cover fundamentals of AI and autonomous systems. And some lessons learned, the feedback we usually get is around praising the case studies we used, in the sense that I would say using case studies on how similar businesses have benefited is very important to them. Eventually, I would aim to make sure that those managers are now in a better position to develop roadmaps that align the technology with the specific needs of their business operations. Then we have another category of managers. Those are the ones who have already built an understanding of the technology. And now they are trying to see how that can be part of their, not only part of their strategy, but they want to grow and to get more details into it. They want advice, they want recommendations on how to move forward. This involves, of course, very difficult questions, and that's why they collaborate and we work together, but they work with universities. So it's important to get it right. And what we do in this case is that we first try to identify the business areas to improve, where that can be improved by utilizing AI and autonomous systems. These discussions tend to cover priorities around efficiency, cost saving, enhanced decision making. We would work on cost-benefit analysis that could help managers at the end of the day to make informed decisions, but also to justify it in terms of budgeted to their seniors. So these things make it things rolling, make it work, and they need a lot of help around that. At the end of the day, it's the justification when it comes to return on investment. Then ideally, we would discuss priorities and opportunities when it comes to some demos, to some piloting of small scale projects to showcase real world application, because this is an area of innovation. So it's important to start that way. And that will be proceeded with more technical projects to finally take place. Finally, I would also, I think, around this question, to comment on the case of innovation startups, including those looking for bigger companies to acquire them. Due to the way startups are initiated, usually the manager here has a very good grasp of the technology. In fact, in many cases, they are the researchers. So the support they need will be different and more focused on understanding the market rather than the technology itself.
That's great, quite comprehensive explanation. Well, you mentioned startups. Well, you actually mentioned many different business sizes. But if we want to concentrate on startups and what they can do about these kind of technologies, what do you think about what market opportunities do we have for innovation and market disruption in this area? And do you think if the technology is ready yet?
Yes, so as a university, we work with many small businesses and we send them to students. They want new, bright minds already trained to join them, but also we play an active role in helping them to exploit market opportunities. I think firstly, we can, or let us appreciate that innovation startups, they rely on researchers to propose ideas and create MVPs or minimal viable products. And these will be proof of concepts with some enough features to be used by an early customer, a customer who will be providing them with feedback and for improvements, and hopefully they will become long-term customers afterward. Now, in terms of existing opportunities, we already have seen a lot of work in areas such as, let's say, automated customer services. I'm going to mention examples that could apply to majority of companies, at least initially. Supply chain optimization, personal marketing, predictive analysis. These are things that shows how big the market can be. And autonomous systems can fit here. AI can fit here. And things are already happening in many cases. And of course, there's cybersecurity. If we focus on it as our premium example, and this is where my expertise is, attackers are utilizing AI to perform attacks because it can be more effective with AI and it can save them a lot of time. Even script kiddies are causing a lot of noise because now they have access to tools, they can run it even if they don't really understand the technology that much, and that's a problem. As a security community, we already know that we need then AI for cyber defense as well to be able to cope, and organizations know that. So there are many opportunities, I would say, and the technology continues to improve. For example, let's say researchers propose a new method to detect and respond to zero-day exploit. These are very sophisticated attacks and in real time and without or very limited human intervention. So very, let's say, promising aims to achieve. Now, do we have these methods in the market? Well, the answer is yes, but are they ready? I would say, well, there is a space for more work to do, but that also means there is an opportunity for improvement. So then at the end of the day, the need is there, the opportunity for innovation. However, I think what innovation startup also needs, and if we focus on them, is support in terms of training in order to be able to identify their own market, to identify the changes they need to introduce to their own ideas, to be realistic about it in order to succeed in that market. If anyone, for instance, is here in the UK, we have a good initiative called Cyber ASAP. Chances are maybe you have worked with them, or you at least know about them. You are also in the UK. Now, a very successful initiative that is in its 8th year now. They offer a training to convert research into products and services. But similar programs can also be in other countries. They are good to look at, or if someone needs some further help, of course, they are welcome to get in touch.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I also know that the initiative, I was part of one of the cohorts as well. It's a very nice initiative helping academics to, turn their research ideas to business, to commercial products. So concentrating on autonomous cybersecurity, as you mentioned, and it is the focus of our workshop, basically. And you mentioned correctly that these days people are very excited about AI. They want to make everything automated and rely on AI for so many different things. But specifically for autonomous cybersecurity, we may end up having the risk of over-reliance on automation. What do you think about it? Can this be controlled or mitigated?
Thank you, Tooska, for this question. So over-reliance on automation will come with a risk. It might lead to the, let's say, possibility of more false positives, false negatives, affecting operational efficiency, and so on and so forth. Also, the technology does not really understand human ethics at the end of the day. So it can be trained on examples of good practices, but results are highly dependent on factors such as how good the quality of the data set used to train the algorithm is, as well as the planned human intervention to teach the algorithm how to do things better. To what extent have they actually done that? Have they done it the right way or not? All these are very good questions. So this is why part of my research here, it does focus on ethical AI, where we look into autonomous systems on how they can be integrated, how they can actually integrate escalation of conflict when it happens, violation of user privacy, whether there is built-in transparency in decision-making, with some accountability mechanism to address unintended consequences. So we anticipate that these are required now, but chances are in the future, the legal system will also be more strict about them. There are also questions whether the system will, let's say, replace human cybersecurity experts when it comes to these. I think there is more than one way to look at this question, but my personal view would be in favor of the assumption that experts will always be part of the overall solution, but the way they interact with the system will be different. Now, organization will be more productive with AI and autonomous systems, with less maybe number of employees, maybe. But then another way to look at the same situation is to say, all right, it will be more feasible for small teams to establish new, highly productive organizations. That will also be possible. So I think this view aligns well with Industry 4.0, where I think what we are going to continue to look at is the human-machine collaboration. It is the future. This is the emphasis here on collaboration to create more efficient, smart, but also ethical and human-oriented working environment.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you mentioned the standards that are there in order to, and regulations that are there in order to protect the end users, and of course the companies against, breaching users' privacy, or also against being vulnerable against attackers, and so on, right? And companies usually invest a lot on compliance, being compliant with so many different standards and regulations. What do you think is the expected impact of autonomous cybersecurity solutions on for industries to be compliant with the regulations and standards?
I think the good thing about autonomous cybersecurity system is their promising ability to enhance compliance in the sense that by design, we will be continuously monitoring that's for example, network activity or any process we have could have an in-system built-in capability to do that or to monitor even the supply chain. They can be configured in a way to ensure that security policies and regulations are well implemented and reducing human error because, okay, it will be minimal with autonomous systems. They can automate compliance checks, which a human can test eventually selectively. Several studies are already showing that they make fewer errors compared to what humans are doing. In some applications, I have seen autonomous systems will play the fundamental role to encourage e-government services because they are controlling problems related to fraud as a case study. And therefore, they have been recommended across the supply chain and e-government services globally, because when you remove the human element or control it from some parts, you can fight very specific problems that we have always had before. So at the end of the day, I think with the expansion of technology and IoT, for instance, I would say that help from autonomous systems will be inevitable to provide real-time reporting on compliance status when we have so many things to account for.
Yeah, well, that is true. And you also mentioned, I mean, we talked about standards and regulations and how end users are kind of in this whole environment and ecosystem, and we need to care about the end users as well as a business, right? We need to make them happy in order to have more customers coming back to us or being introduced to us. So the point about autonomous systems is that they, by design, they make most of the decisions on their own. So how should end users trust them?
I actually think we do not need to trust them. To the contrary, I think we need to consider the possibility that they could make errors or even decisions that is not compatible with our understanding of what is right, what is ethical, and what's acceptable. So what I'm trying to say here, I think, is that we should be able to understand how autonomous systems make decisions, which is another research area. At the moment, we are working on explainable AI as a community. It aims to make decision-making process of AI systems more transparent, more understandable to humans. So in other words, designing an AI system in a way that could provide clear explanations, some rationales for the decisions. And I think that is how we could move forward. And this is how we should probably see the regulations maybe enforcing these requirements to protect the end user at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. That is correct. Basically, my field of research is also privacy and trust. And with even before AI, it was quite difficult for end users to understand what these IoT devices are doing. Now with these autonomous systems and AI, it is becoming even more and more complicated. That was a nice point, that we don't really need to trust them. Instead, we have to accept that they can make mistakes. And also having explainable AI and having governments putting more effort in making some rules for the sake of end users could be something important that we may want to consider in the future. I believe we had a great conversation. Thank you so much. We talked about the autonomous systems from another perspective, and I hear that you work on many different aspects of autonomous systems, and also how we can involve businesses and end users and so on. I'm sure that many of the people that are listening to us today may want to contact you in order to have some sort of collaboration or to further discuss about what we talked about today. So what is the best way of communicating with you or contacting you?
Thank you very much, Tooska, for this opportunity. The best way to contact me would be through my university email. However, I'm also there on LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm happy to connect there as well. So if you are a business looking for innovation, an academic colleague, a student interested in pursuing further studies in cybersecurity, please feel free to get in touch.
That's great. Thank you so much, Haider. It was great talking to you, and thank you for your time and accepting our invitation. Before closing today's episode, I would like to mention that Haider is the sponsorship chair of our Autonomous Cyber workshop. Although the submission deadline for the papers has been passed, basically it is closed, but you are still in time in order to register to our workshop and attend the workshop on the 18th of October, which will be in Salt Lake City in the US. Please have a look at our website, and if you're interested, come along, and we will be happy to see you and have more discussions on this topic. Thank you so much for listening to us today, and see you later.